Hi guys, it's Nina from VRFocus. I am here at Oculus Unwrapped, joined by...
Hi, I'm Yelena Rachitsky. I'm an executive producer for the experiences team over at Oculus.
So we just had a very interesting panel discussion about what Oculus is doing with entertainment and film and gaming. What is it that you guys are looking to invest in? What type of entertainment are you looking to bring into virtual reality right now?
We've been investing in content since Oculus started. Strong believers in supporting the artists and creators and to figuring out what works best for VR. And with my team specifically, we're focusing on works that are beyond gaming. How are we bringing storytelling into VR? How are we bringing entertainment into VR? What kind of new categories are being created? So we focus on both well-known film properties, and we also work with a lot of independent creators trying to push innovation forward. So we just created Pixar's first VR project called Coco. It's a social experience, it's highly interactive, it's incredibly fun, and it helps bring fans of the world, of the film, into the world, and able to not just sit there and watch, but actually have everything be about them. We also worked on a piece around Blade Runner and bringing people from that world to a story that goes beyond what the film can do. It adds to it. We think a lot about how can VR go beyond marketing for a film and really enhance the storytelling and the experience, and thinking about what is the audience's experience. And as far as independent work, we're seeing so much creativity of creators attempting VR and bringing a new understanding of how powerful and how visceral and how entertaining and how fun a VR experience can be. And then from all of that, also just pushing the technology forward and the quality forward and finding the right audiences for it.
Are you also working with non-Hollywood filmmakers or creators as well to sort of, I guess, test the limits of what technology can do with sort of non-conventional Hollywood storytelling?
Definitely. So we have a project called Dear Angelica that was created with a filmmaker, but mostly with a traditional artist. She was a traditional illustrator, Wesley Alsbrook, and she used Quill, which is a drawing tool, to fully create a VR movie called Dear Angelica. So everything was drawn by hand. We're also working on a project right now that we haven't announced yet that brings an immersive theater troupe into VR, and all of the acting was done in conjunction with this immersive theater company to understand how can you more closely guide the viewer. And on top of that, we're also finding a huge bridge between the game making community and the storytelling community into really understanding how storytelling and interactivity go well together.
I mean, this is a completely new field. I suppose that Oculus would be one of the companies that are driving, I suppose, almost kind of like a Bible of story and language and theory to what's good, what's not good, and you guys are at the helm of what technology is able to do. Now, what do you think, besides immersive technology, gaming, and film, how do you think you guys could bring that to the audiences besides sort of the Oculus platform? Is Facebook perhaps also involved in trying to bring virtual reality to the consumers?
Yeah, we think a lot about how VR can push social presence forward. So if you think about your communication on Facebook, you can have contact with anyone in the world and you have access to them quickly, and it helps you feel connected. With VR, you can take that to a higher level with connection. So for instance, with Coco, it's a social experience. So you could be here in London, I'll be in San Francisco, and we can come to the experience together and feel like we're traveling together from the comfort of our own homes and creating that memory. So we think a lot about that.
Is it somehow possible to, like, through Facebook Spaces, to go through all of the different experiences, like almost on a little journey between all of what's available?
Yeah, we're having a lot of conversations about how to bridge that gap, and we have a lot of ideas that we're going to be experimenting with over the next couple of years.
Fantastic. And what other type of creative content is Facebook and Oculus looking to invest in with regards to storytelling, besides immersive theater?
We really see VR as the convergence of so many different kinds of mediums, so it's not just focusing on one. I think the key to a successful project is if you have someone that knows interactivity, have someone that knows storytelling, have someone who knows the technology inside and out, knows how to use a game engine, throw in something with theatrical and create new types of groups that are creating their own kind of industry versus the siloed industries that we've had in the past.
Do you see like different genres popping out that like maybe don't have a word quite yet? Like there's subcategories of virtual reality coming up?
Yeah, it's funny when you talk about VR and how you call it, everyone calls it something different, which is actually really exciting because we're forming what that is. I actually love that we're breaking these boundaries of categories. We're actually redefining our concept of what storytelling is, because a lot of people used to call storytelling as something that happened in the past, but a story can be an experience you have, and the memory you made from it is the story that you just created for yourself. So experience, storytelling, gaming, it's going to be interesting to see which actual word kind of comes up to the top, but the categories continue to blend and change and move, and it's a fun time to understand that.
I know that you briefly spoke about it at the panel, but how do you think monetization is going to work with future VR content creators? How can they get money to then further? I mean, VR is so expensive. How can they get money for what they're creating besides gaming?
Yeah. So gaming has shown us that people can make money in VR, which is exciting, and that there's an audience there. And it's actually not that dissimilar from filmmaking. So if you think about how film creators make something and then they look at the various platforms of finding the audience and getting their work out there. So you have the theater, you have DVDs, which are starting to go away, you have your digital distribution, you have various screenings that you have going on, or people licensing that content. It's not going to be that dissimilar. It's finding those various avenues, and we're seeing a lot with location-based entertainment. Warner Brothers and a lot of studios are starting to charge for their content, and a big part is that the content is starting to become longer, and the content is starting to become something that people feel is something that they would pay for. So we're going to see that. We're going to see that continuing to form. It's not fully developed yet, but a big part of it is we're still continuing to understand what great content is.
And with the Oculus Go and I guess the Santa Cruz headset, whatever name that might come out eventually, the content that's created for those headsets, do you think that it'll be sort of dramatically brought down in sort of processing power, or what is capable of being on the headset?
Well, Oculus Go is going to allow us to have VR be much more accessible, and the resolution is going to be incredible in it. Santa Cruz is also going to allow a level of accessibility into something positional that hasn't really been done before. So the content is getting better, and people are learning how to create better content for the restrictions that the technology has.
Are you working together with creators to try and figure out what is and what isn't possible for these new technologies?
Yeah, that's basically all I do. So my team, we focus on working with third-party developers, and we collectively come up with various ideas that we want to experiment and innovate with, and to try to understand how we continue pushing VR forward, both in the innovation and activity, but also in storytelling and the emotional capability of it. So we have been working on dozens of projects and giving resources to dozens of projects to understand that, to platform new creators and new talent, to bring recognizable worlds that people love, like Coco and Pixar and Batman and others, for audiences to really enjoy.
If a content creator wanted to approach you guys and say, listen, we've got a great concept that works for sort of the Santa Cruz headset or the Oculus Go, how would they go and approach you and say, how do we take it to your platform?
Yeah, it's all conversations. We talk to everyone basically. We get a sense of what everyone's working on, what they're excited about, what they've done before. We're always open for a phone call and giving information and advice, and if we're super excited, we might be able to get behind it as well.
And is that all people sort of in the Western Hemisphere, or are you also looking at people in like Africa or Asia, Russia, Australia?
Yeah, I mean VR right now is so incredibly international, and actually a lot of developers are working out of Europe. There's a lot of VR programs that are happening out of Africa, out of various developing countries. So we're seeing a lot of that happen, and we feel very strongly about diversity and diverse creators and enabling new voices. And we're building this medium from the ground up. So if you put diverse creators into the heart of it, then it organically grows more and more. So we have a lot of female creators, creators of color, and we really look and respect and try to put out new, fresh voices.
Fantastic. Well, is there a website or I guess, contact information for people to try and figure out how to reach you guys?
Yeah, Oculus.com has a lot of stuff, a lot of resources online of how to create content. a lot of resources online for almost anything, and we're usually at a lot of the different festivals. And if you have a project, submit it to the store. Our store team's great at getting back and letting you know how to get something published on there. So everything's very accessible right now.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for the interview.
Yeah.
And head over to VRFocus.com if you want to find out more about virtual reality, and I will see you there.
Thank you. Yeah.